This video is to allow you to correct your homework from section 7.2.2. Problems are 752 through 756. So for 752, they want you to simplify these expressions, which remember again means to find the correct answer. You do need to show your work. We're not looking for necessarily a lot of work, but we should see a keep, change, flip, and simplifying occurring. Or if you have a mixed number, you should first change that to an improper fraction. So for the first one, for example, you should show that you left the 2/3 as it is, keep your 2/3, change your division sign to multiplication, and then flip your second fraction. So instead of being 1/12, it's 12 over 1. Then you can either multiply, then simplify. I think it's a little bit easier to simplify first. So I would divide by 3 in the denominator and in the numerator. Then I'm going to get 2 times 4 is 8 over 1, which equals 8. So again, if you just have an answer of 8, we'll not take it. Make sure you've got your work shown. Same process for these other two that are next. Again, make sure you show your work. And then for this one, first you need to change that 3 1/2 to a improper fraction. So I should see that you rewrote this as 7/2. Now remember, you do not have to do a keep, change, flip here because this is multiplication. So make sure you're looking closely at, are they asking me to divide? Or are they asking me to multiply? I would simplify the 2's here. Then you would get 7/3, which is 2 1/3. Here you can either change them both to fractions or both to decimals. It's up to you. 7/10 would be 0.7. So you'd get 5 9/10 as a decimal. Or you can make this 5 2/10, giving you 5 9/10 as a mixed number. For this one, again, you need to change them to the same format, either decimal or fraction. Either way is fine. If you went with 2/5 being changed to a decimal, it'd be 3.4 minus 2 and 75/100. And I should see that you regrouped, borrowed that whole process. Or we know that 75/100 is the same as 3/4. So you could make that 2 3/4, in which case you'd need a common denominator. So again, I'm fine with either method. If you go with the fractional method, you'll get 13/20. If you go with the decimal method, you will get 65/100 as a decimal, 0.65. But again, make sure you're showing your work regardless. Here, when you multiply, and again, I would encourage you to simplify before you multiply, all of these end up equaling 1. And what do those products have in common? Since they equal 1, what we see is we're multiplying a number times its reciprocal. When you take a number times its reciprocal, it will always equal a product of 1. And of course here, you can put the 7 over 1 when you multiply. But again, I would encourage you to simplify before you multiply. I think it makes it easier. Here you have to find the area of the shape below in at least 2 ways. So you could choose to divide up the shape into, a rectangle here and here by dividing it up vertically. You could choose to divide it up horizontally. But either way, you're going to need to figure out what are your missing parts so that you can find the correct answer. And since they want you to do it at least 2 ways, it probably would be smart to do it vertically and horizontally, unless another way occurs to you. So for this part of the rectangle, we have 7 by 9 for the dimensions. So that would have an area of 63 square centimeters. And then here, this rectangle, well, if we take the 12 minus the 7, this must be a length of 5. And if we take the 9 minus the 3, this must be a length of 6. Now remember, these are not necessarily drawn to scale, so you can't say, well, this looks like it's a length of whatever. It has to be mathematically calculated. So if you have 63 for the 7 times 9 plus 30 for the smaller rectangle here, you would get an area of 93. Okay. 93 square centimeters would be your answer. The other way you could do it is, again, if you chose to divvy it up horizontally, then you could find that you get, a different answer. And a third way, I guess, that they did mention is you could think of it as completing this rectangle, in which case you would have 9 times 12 for the dimensions, and then subtracting this section right here. So that would be a third way that you could possibly approach it, if that way makes more sense to you. And that's what they're showing here. Of course, you'll get the same answer. Right? So those are some different options, but make sure you're showing your work again. For 755, she's serving 5 pizzas. She wants to divide them into slices that are an eighth of the whole pizza. So basically, 5 divided by 1/8 will give you 40 slices. And then as far as a mathematical sentence, you can show 5 divided by 1/8 equals 40. You could show 5 pizzas times 8 pieces per pizza will equal 40. Those would be mathematical sentences to justify your answer. Here, again, without a calculator, make sure you're showing your steps, showing your work. So for the top one, you cannot simplify, so you get just 35/48. Here, I should see that you multiplied and then placed your decimal point 3 places in from the back to get 62 thousandths. Here, I should see that you changed them first to improper fractions, 8/5 times 7/3, and you end up getting 56/15, but that's improper. So I should also see that you changed it then to the mixed number. And here, again, you get 40/21. You should show that you changed it to the mixed number.